My name is Jennifer Janine. I am doing this interview with you for Man News Agency in our studio here in Bethlehem, Palestine. Would you please briefly introduce yourself?
My name is Ariel Gold, and I am the National Co-Director for Code Pink. We are a women-led organization that opposes militarism and seeks to change U.S. foreign policy away from war and towards human needs.
I would like to ask you, first of all, what is your official statement on being banned from Israel the other day?
I am outraged that the state of Israel banned me from entry. Israel claims to be the only democracy in the Middle East, and they claim to be a place where all Jews are welcome. And Jewish history and Jewish values are towards debate and dissent and discussion of issues. So to ban me from entry simply for my political beliefs, for my support of Palestinian human rights and my work for Palestinian human rights and with Palestinians on the ground is just unacceptable.
I understand your outrage. I know that since you mentioned your political views, you're a BDS activist. May I ask you why you joined the BDS movement?
I see boycott and divestment as tactics, nonviolent tactics to achieve political change. These are tactics that have been tried and tested and proven successful, from the lettuce worker boycott in the U.S. to the U.S. civil rights movement and the Montgomery bus boycott to the movement to end apartheid in South Africa. So the use of these tactics is not only entirely nonviolent, but proven effective. And I believe that everybody should have the right to engage in political boycotts. And these are tools that are used currently in the U.S. When we, for example, boycotted a state for not honoring gender differences in gender.
Since you brought up the U.S., can you tell me about some BDS activities you've done in the United States?
Sure. So one of the campaigns that I'm involved in is asking Airbnb to stop listing homes in illegal Israeli settlements. It's just unconscionable that Airbnb would be assisting settlers in expanding their illegal and violent activities, that Airbnb would be advertising rooms and houses in settlements and helping settlers to make money that way. Similarly, I have been heavily involved in, and Code Pink has a campaign asking real estate giant RE/MAX, which is located here in the U.S., in Denver, Colorado, to stop selling homes in illegal settlements. And we've done a lot of work requesting this of them. Their Israeli franchise is located in a settlement. They have one of their offices, and their Israeli franchise is located in a settlement. And they continue to buy and sell and rent homes in settlements. And for many years now, we've been asking them to stop selling these homes on stolen land.
Yes, I wanted to ask you, since you do these BDS activities, if you faced any kind of problems with the United States administration regarding your pro-Palestinian stance, for example, interrogations or restrictions on your social media activity, possibly?
None of those that you mentioned as of yet here in the U.S. have come at me, but I would absolutely say that Israel is exporting their repression to the U.S. and trying to, and the result of that has been massive attacks on our First Amendment right to freedom of speech here in the U.S. I'm a New Yorker. I live up in Ithaca, New York, so I work out of Washington, D.C., and I spend about half of my time in Washington, D.C. Here in New York, my governor, Cuomo, signed an executive order trying to outlaw boycott, divestment, and sanctions and punish us for exercising our First Amendment right to boycott. And moving towards Washington, D.C. on the federal level, we have legislation pending right now, federal legislation seeking to punish us for our right to boycott. It's the Israel Anti-Boycott Act.
That's very interesting. Have you ever organized anything regarding the United States Embassy transfer from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem? Because that was a big issue at the time.
We've been protesting that since before it was announced, and absolutely after it's been announced. President Trump really broke with the international community, and I would say it was one of the most dangerous actions of his presidency to date, to move that embassy. It's a slap in the face to international law and to Palestinians working day and night for their basic human rights. So we have been involved in many protests of that and are outraged.
Do you think moving the embassy will make it more difficult for Palestinians to have an independent state later on in the future?
I think for a long time now, Israel has been making it more and more difficult for Palestinians to have an independent state and to have basic human rights. And the movement of the embassy is just one more step in the theft of Palestinian land that's been occurring for 70 years now, for over 70 years now. And this is an alliance between two right-wing, extreme racist governments, the Trump administration and the Netanyahu administration, two governments that are committed to building walls, to deporting people, to banning refugees and immigrants. And this is something that we all need to continue to fight back about, whether it's the separating of families coming in from the U.S.-Mexico border, or it's the ongoing denial of the right of return to Palestinian refugees who have been displaced from their homes and lands since 1948.
Well, I've actually been following you and your story for the past years since you've been assaulted by an Israeli settler here in Palestine. My question is, why would you come back after such an event happened to you? And what is your message that you're sending?
Well, my message is to people is that we cannot give up the struggle for human rights, and it's my responsibility, both as a Jew and as a human being and as an American, given that my tax dollars go to Israel, to support the Palestinian peaceful struggle for freedom and equality in the best way that I am able, best utilizing my skills. And for me, that has for a long time involved coming to Palestine and building relationships on the ground and working in solidarity. And that I was violently assaulted by a settler in Hebron, which I was, is, a small price to pay compared to the violence that Palestinians in the West Bank, in Gaza, in East Jerusalem, and inside Israel experience every day. State violence, as well as direct violence by settlers. And I should say as well, so when her name was Anat Cohen, and the video can be found online because I live streamed her attack on me while also asking the soldiers to step in and protect me, which they refused to do. But after that happened, I was able, as an American Jew, as an American citizen, to go straight to the court in Jerusalem and immediately file for a restraining order, which I was granted. And I wish that Palestinians, when they are attacked by settlers, which they are on a regular basis, and when they are attacked by soldiers, which they are on a regular basis, could get restraining orders. And I am aware of my privilege that I was able to do so.
Well, would you come back again after being assaulted and banned from entering Israel?
Absolutely, and I'll be exploring with my lawyers any avenues to do that. I'm quite aware that apparently getting a visa in advance of coming, which is what I had done, because the last time I exited, they told me that I couldn't come back without a visa in advance. So this time I did that. So I am very aware that for myself, doing that or simply showing up, I will absolutely at this time be denied entry. So I'll be exploring with my lawyers if we have grounds to contest the denial. And if so, I would be honored to come back and continue my work.
We would love to have you here. May I ask you, what did they tell you at the airport, even though you had your visa? What was their explanation to banning you from entering Israel, other than you being a BDS activist?
They actually did not bring up BDS at any time during the interview, which is quite interesting. What they interrogated me on and told me were really along the lines of two things. One, about having connections to and friendships with Palestinians, including demanding to look through the contacts in my phone to see Arabic or Muslim names, which is just disgustingly racist. That and grilling me on what happened last summer on taking the settler to court and publicizing what happened, publicizing the violence of these settlers and the immoral actions of the Israeli military. And so basically, and this was a verbal, what they told me was that I was being denied because I made Israel look bad.
I'm sure you help with telling your story today about what is going on in Palestine and what basic human rights are being violated in this day and age. I would like to lastly ask you, since you live in New York in the United States and you're a pro-Palestinian, do you live in a pro-Palestinian community or a pro-Israeli community?
Well, I would say the U.S. in general is supportive of Israel, though we're seeing that change. We have a lot of encouraging things that we're seeing, videos and statements from Senator Bernie Sanders and others, leaders in the House of Representatives like Mark Pocan. But overall, we in the U.S. continue to give billions of dollars to Israel. I actually don't live in New York City. I live in upstate New York, in Ithaca, New York, and I would say it's a mixture. We have a strong community that supports human rights and dignity for all people, and we also have those that act to uphold the status quo in Israel and here in the U.S.
Do you feel in any way that these pro-Israeli communities affect your social life or your BDS activities in a negative way? Or do you think they respect your opinion as much as you respect theirs?
I can say that some of the responses to me being denied entry and the responses previous to the work that I continue to do for Palestinian rights have been really ugly. I have had threats against my family. I have had verbal attacks sent to me against my children. I have been called names that I won't repeat because they are revolting and inappropriate. So at times I would say it is quite ugly. And again, I would say that it's my responsibility as a citizen of the world, and especially as a Jewish American, to continue my work regardless of any hate that is directed at me for that work.
I totally support you with that. Now, is there a message you'd like to say to anyone watching this video right now?
I would like to send a message to all of my friends on the ground in Palestine who I consider my extended family, and to say that I'm so sorry that I can't be on the ground there with you, and that I will continue all of my solidarity and activist activities, and that we will continue to work together until Palestine is free.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much for your time and for allowing us to do this interview with you, and we hope you continue telling the Palestinian story and that you never give up.
Bye.
I want to thank the viewers for watching this video and this interview that was done with Ariel Gold, a BDS activist that was banned from entering Israel and fights for Palestine every single day. Thank you.